Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel today. Now, if you are a regular, hello, and you may notice that my background is totally different today, so hopefully the audio is okay for you guys. But secondly, and most importantly, what I'm going to chat about today is how to be mindful with your spending but not be cheap. We all know those people around us that are absolute cheapskates and so extremely frugal that they're actually hurting themselves and the people around them. So if you sound like you're one of those people who maybe is a bit of a cheapskate, you can of course save money in different ways and not affect your health, affect your lifestyle as much as being extremely frugal. So the first thing I want to chat about is clothes. So I recently did a video on this where I got rid of about 50% of my wardrobe. I'll pop it up here if you guys haven't seen it. But the really important thing with clothes is to not go so cheap that you're buying fast fashion, that you're throwing it away, that you're buying stuff that when you wash it once or twice, it just like disintegrates into nothing. The really important thing to be minimalist with clothes is to actually buy things that are pretty neutral colors. Like I tend to wear a lot of navies, beiges, grays, things like that. And also to buy stuff of good quality. So yes, right now I'm wearing Lululemon leggings. Okay, I think to buy they're like £110, which is an awful lot of money. But I've had these for about 5 years and I pretty much live in these every weekend for the last 5 years. So it's okay to spend money on quality things that are gonna last. And these, I get compliments on them all the time and they don't go out of shape when you wash them. However, if I was to buy really cheap leggings for like £20, they'd probably last a year maybe, with all the washing that you have to do every time you go to the gym. And they would start to, get out of shape and then you would have to buy another pair, of course. So it's just about being conscious about the environment, of course, but also your money in that case. If you buy something cheap, you tend to buy it multiple times, whereas if you actually invest in something that's going to last 10 years, then it's probably a better use of your money. So what I always try and do is to try and buy, good quality materials like cotton or linen, and you don't have to spend an absolute fortune for these. You can go into charity shops where you can get 100% wool jumpers for pretty cheap. So it's about the material, not necessarily what you're spending on it. And I've done this, a lot, especially recently. I just reviewed my whole wardrobe and got rid of stuff that I don't use anymore and just kept the things that were really good quality, things I could mix and match and kind of have a bit of a capsule wardrobe. And I'm not a fashionista, and I'm sorry, this is not a fashion channel, so I may be going off on a bit of a tangent. But it is actually, something that can really rack up every month if you are spending a lot on fast fashion. So it's just something to be mindful about. And also if you're falling into trends like latest clothes trends, you can spend a few £100s a month if you are wanting to keep up with all of the trends every season. So just to be a bit more mindful and maybe think, hey, would a capsule wardrobe be best for me? So the second thing I want to talk about to be more mindful with your spending but not be cheap is your food. So of course, what I tend to do, as I said, is I budget every month. So I have a set amount of what I'm going to spend on my groceries, okay? And for me personally, I spend about £60 a week. And in that, I've got my vegetables, my fruit, all of my dinners that I'm going to cook for that week, and all of the lunches that I'm going to cook, okay? I like cooking personally. I know everyone's not into cooking, but honestly, having meal prep and having an idea of what you're going to cook is going to help you spend less on your groceries. And to prevent being a cheapskate, you should really just stop buying just cheap processed food like pizzas, like chicken nuggets, like things that are pretty cheap that you can, rustle up pretty quickly. But in the long term, that's actually going to really affect your health. So is it worth it to save a few pennies here and there, but actually affect your health in the long term? I don't think so. So with groceries, what I tend to do is, as I said, write out a list of, on Monday, I'm going to cook spaghetti bolognese. What are the ingredients I need to buy to cook that? And then I would check in my cupboards, check in my fridge. Okay, do I already have tomatoes? Do I already have basil? Do I already have spaghetti? And if I have those items, I don't buy them again. And this will, of course, prevent waste, because if you don't check in your wardrobes or check in your cupboards or your fridge before you go shopping, you're, of course, just going to automatically pick up pasta, pick up basil, pick up mince, but you might already have these ingredients at home. So really try and, be mindful about your food waste. And then also you're going to save money there in the long term because you're being a bit more proactive about what you're eating, putting into your body, and also saving money too. So the third thing I want to talk about is transport and how to spend mindfully on this but not be cheap. So this, when I was thinking about this, a recent example came into my mind. Well, recent. It was when I was in university when I was 18 and I'm 33 now. But I remember one of the girls in our class, she was really conscious about saving money because, like all of us, we were poor students. And I remember on nights out, sometimes she would, walk home alone because she didn't want to spend £10 on a taxi to walk back to her accommodation. And I didn't realise she was doing this until a few years later when she told me that she would walk home in the dark to save that £10. And this is where it gets to the point where it's actually dangerous, and where you're being cheap there can actually affect your safety. So if you find yourself in that situation and you're like, oh my God, I've only budgeted £100 this month on transport, and you go on a night out and you feel like you're stuck and you need to spend money on a taxi to get home to go over your budget, of course spend it. Don't sacrifice your safety, your health, your body, your future just for a few pounds, okay? This is where it can be really silly to be extremely frugal, because you're actually affecting yourself and you're affecting the people around you as well, because they'll be worried or stressed about your safety. So of course, hopefully that's obvious, to go over your budget in situations where you feel unsafe, or things happen. Sometimes trains are cancelled and you have to get a taxi, or sometimes your plans are affected and you have to get a hotel room. Like that happened to me recently, when the trains were just all cancelled and I couldn't go anywhere. I had to just spend £200 on a hotel. Of course do that, don't be like hanging around in a station until the next train, if the next train is not until 10 hours time, okay? So don't be so cheap that you're affecting your own safety. Really important, guys. So the next thing I want to talk about on how to be mindful with spending but not be cheap is your health, aka the gym, working out, exercise, that kind of thing. So I used to be really bad with this. I used to be like, oh hey, I'm not going to spend a couple of £100 a month on a gym. I'll just walk everywhere, or I'll just do gym stuff at home. And it would turn out that I would never do my weights at home. I would never do exercise because I could not find that motivation at home. So what I would say to this is to really look at yourself, and if you're the type of person who can be motivated by, doing some yoga on YouTube at home, perfect, do that, save the money there. But if you're one of those people like me who just can't get motivated being by themselves in a flat, okay, you need to go to a class, then of course spend that money there. A really good example is I currently pay £50 a month for unlimited yoga. Now, if the ball is still in my court, if I just go twice a month, I'm paying £25 for each of those classes, which is really expensive. However, if I go every day of the month, and there's 30 days in a month, it's only going to cost me £1.66 for every class that I go to. So in that case, it's extremely good value. So it really depends on you. If you feel like you are the type of person who is actually going to utilize that gym membership and it's going to work out pretty reasonable for the amount of times that you go, of course use it and look after your health. Exercise is of course really important. You don't want to be, an old decrepit old lady or old man, in the future. And you could have, prevented that by doing regular exercise, doing regular weights and things like that. So of course, look after your health and don't be scrimping so much that you're not doing anything at all because you wanted to save that £50 a month, because that's kind of stupid. Do you guys have any other examples that you've done in the past where you actually felt like you were really cheap just to save a little bit of money? I have this example for myself, which is still really embarrassing to think about. I think I was in my early 20s, and it was when I was finished university and I was starting to live, by myself, I think in London at that time. And what I did is I thought, okay, I'm going to save money by not buying hair conditioner every month, and it'll be fine. I'll just shampoo my hair and not spend, a £5 a month on hair conditioner. And oh my God, I really regret that to this day, because I probably did this for like 6 months where I just didn't buy hair conditioner at all. And I'm the type of person who has, as you can see, quite frizzy, wavy hair. And my hair still hasn't recovered from that time of just neglecting it, basically, just so I could save £5 a month. It seems so stupid now, but I was on such a mission because I was on such a low salary at the time when I came to London that I was like, oh my God, I just need to cut out things like this. But honestly, there are better ways to do things, I think at the time when I first moved to London, I had 16 grand of salary, which of course does not get you very far in London at the age of 21, 22. So understandably, that's why I did it. But, looking back, please do not scrimp on your health, on your life, on your well-being, just to save a few bits of bob here and there. There are always ways to make, a little bit of extra money on the side, or there are always ways to eat cheaper, but still eat healthier. You can swap out meats for beans or legumes or things like that, which tend to be cheaper. Or, you can do a lot of soups rather than, forking out on takeaways. There are ways to still look after your health but not be an absolute cheapskate and affect your future self. Thanks to everyone who's been watching and commenting really nice comments down below. It's a real joy to read them every day, so I really appreciate it. I'm a super new channel and I tend to post 2 videos a week. So if you want to learn more about, personal finance and how to be better with your money, but also a bit of financial well-being, hopefully you can subscribe. About 90% of you guys who watch aren't subscribed, so I'd really appreciate it if you can press that button. That would be great. But until then guys, I'll chat to you soon. Bye.